Hi, welcome to Low Carb, Me and You. I'm Alexander, your culinary guide. Get ready for an incredible recipe. Slow cooked pulled chicken in tomato sauce. Pulled chicken is a protein packed delight that pairs well with salads and meals, but nothing beats a mouth-watering pulled chicken sandwich. Today's hero ingredient is the chicken, which we're going to slow cook for several hours. And to elevate that chicken to new heights, we'll need the following additional ingredients: a can of chopped tomatoes, red wine, olive oil, erythritol or your preferred sweetener, salt, half an onion, several cloves of garlic, and fresh basil. Let's start by preparing the onion. Coarsely dice half an onion or a whole one if it's smaller. Begin by cutting off the top and removing the peel. Then make vertical incisions from the stem to the top, followed by 1 or 2 horizontal cuts. Finally, dice the onion by cutting across. If you're watching your carb intake, you can substitute the onion with onion powder. Use 1 tablespoon of onion powder to reduce by half a gram of carbs per serving. Next, let's tackle the garlic. Use a paring knife to cut the bottom of each garlic clove. Don't cut all the way through and use the end as leverage to pull away the peel. Do the same for the top of the garlic. Remove any remaining peel. This works best with fresh garlic as the peel hasn't dried out completely and won't tear as quickly. Alternatively, you can use garlic powder as a substitute. Add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder to lower the carb content by 1/4 gram per serving. Now let's prepare the basil. Remove the leaves from the stems and stack them neatly. Put the biggest leaves on top of the stack and roll the basil leaves gently to create a compact bundle. Starting from one end, slice the rolled basil into thin strips. This technique yields beautifully cut basil that works great in our recipe, but you can also use it as a garnish for other dishes. With the preparations done, it's time to cook the chicken. First, let's make the sauce in a bowl. Grab a bowl big enough to contain all ingredients except the chicken. Add in the chopped tomatoes, salt, erythritol or your sweetener, olive oil, basil, onion, and the red wine. Finally, crush the garlic into the bowl. Mix together using a spoon and set the sauce aside. Don't worry about the alcohol from the wine. By the time we're done with the sauce, there won't be any left. Now bring out your slow cooker. Distribute the chicken evenly on the bottom, layering if needed. Pour the sauce over the chicken, trying to cover it as much as possible. Use a spoon to distribute the sauce. We want the chicken to be submerged, so all the flavors seep in while it cooks. Set the slow cooker to cook for approximately 4 hours. Avoid cooking the chicken for longer as it may become dry. If you use fattier chicken meat, like the thighs, you have more leeway with the cooking time, but you'll also increase the fat content in this dish. As the cooking time ends, an amazing aroma will greet you. But we're not done yet. We have a few more steps to make it even more awesome. Gently transfer the chicken to a plate and let it cool for a few minutes to avoid burning your hands while shredding. Don't let it cool completely, as slightly warm meat is easier to shred. To shred the chicken, you can use 2 forks to pull the meat apart. Just stick them in and start pulling them away from each other. You can adjust the level of shredding according to your preference, whether you like it chunkier or finer. Take your time and enjoy the process. Once shredded, set it aside while we finish the sauce. Right now, the sauce still has a thin and watery consistency. We're going to reduce the sauce to increase the flavor before we combine it with the chicken. Pour the thin sauce from the slow cooker into a pan. Increase the heat to high and bring it to a boil. Reduce the sauce on high heat until it's about halved in volume, stirring regularly to prevent burning. You can add additional salt and pepper to taste. After 5 to 10 minutes, the sauce will have reduced to a consistency of our liking. Lower the heat to medium and reintroduce the shredded chicken to the pan. Just add all of the shredded chicken with any juices that might have seeped out into the pan. Stir well to combine the chicken with the flavorful sauce. If you plan to serve it warm, you can reheat the chicken, but it's also delicious when enjoyed cold. While the chicken is ready for serving, let's not forget the fantastic pulled chicken sandwiches we mentioned earlier. Grab yourself some low-carb buns, or check out my recipe for fluffy low-carb buns to make them yourself. Slice them in half and create a bed of fresh arugula or lettuce. Load up the buns with a generous amount of pulled chicken and top it off with some shredded mozzarella. And ta-da! Indulge in these fantastic pulled chicken sandwiches, bursting with flavor and low in carbs. This recipe makes 8 servings of pulled chicken. Each serving contains 3 grams of carbs, 26 grams of protein, 5 grams of fat, and 216 calories. A complete sandwich with all the fixings contains 5.5 grams of carbs, 41 grams of protein, 21 grams of fat, and 517 calories. Thank you for joining me on Low Carb, Me and You. Stay tuned for more delicious low-carb recipes.